What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the CruitCast. Cole, it's a first for us, man. Our first double CruitCast in 1 week, right? We did one on Monday, and here we are Thursday afternoon recording another one. So 2 for 1 this week, right, Cole?
There's a lot going on, so
Yeah, we kind of said, hey, earlier in the week, we're like, hey, we're going to try and do 2, and maybe they'll be a bit shorter than we traditionally do, but we got to cover the weekend coming out of the weekend earlier. Now we can preview, which should be, for you especially, will be a pretty eventful weekend. We'll get to that in a little bit. Before we get started talking recruiting, everybody, please like this video, subscribe to the channel. The last one got a lot of traffic, so we appreciate that. And hit up our sponsor. You see them up top, Prime Shrimp, primeshrimp.com. $20 off your first order with that promo code OrangeBloods. True story, Cole. I'm going to cook just for myself, not the kids, not the wife. For myself tonight, I've got a steak and shrimp. I'm making some prime shrimp tonight, steak and one of the lemon pepper shrimp, man. So
I'm jealous.
Yeah, my wife doesn't like steak. She's not she likes chicken and turkey and all that crap. But yeah, so I'm trying to do this keto thing. So I'm like, all right, man, I'm going to make myself a steak, pop in some of that prime shrimp. We both know how delicious and how easy it is. So a legitimate plug for prime shrimp. I'll be eating some prime shrimp tonight with my steak. So, Cole, let's talk about some recruiting. That's what people are here to watch. We talked a little bit about last week and how active it was and everything else. I ended up talking to a couple guys after we recorded that, the couple guys who made it in town. One of the big ones, we touched on him earlier in the week, Marcus Deal, the defensive lineman out of Naaman Forest. Mm-hmm. We knew he was probably coming in. Of course, he ends up making it in. It's an unofficial visit. I did talk to Marcus Deal, and like everybody else we talked to, he goes, man, it was incredible. What an experience. He said he went to a game last year, Oklahoma State, I believe it was. And he goes, this is a whole other world, man. This Alabama experience was a whole other world. So had a great trip. He still has a Georgia official visit coming up. And then he's trying to still decide between Texas and Oklahoma for his last official visit. Maybe I'm crazy, man, because Marcus plays it pretty close to the vest, but I like Texas's position in this one. They just seem to be taking the right steps, pushing the right buttons, getting him on campus for that game, that atmosphere. He got to talk to Bo Davis, told him after the game, hey, how much they want him in Austin, and why not Texas? Come be a part of this. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm misreading it, Cole, and I know we got a ways to go because Marcus has taken his time. And like I said, he's got a Georgia official visit coming up this month. But I like Texas's position to land Marcus Deal in this class at some point.
Yeah, for sure. I talked to him on, I guess it was last Thursday leading up to the Alabama game, and he seemed pretty excited for that visit. We saw him on campus back in July, and it seems like Texas has done a lot of good work in that recruitment as of late. So, interesting recruitment. Like you say, saw us the Georgia visit. He's already visited TCU. I know he's thinking about visiting either Texas or Oklahoma for that OV. But yeah, he says he's getting closer to figuring out where he wants to be. He said he would like to have a decision made at the end, or at least a little bit after the end of his senior season. So this could wrap up pretty soon. You could see him making that decision which OV he wants to take sooner rather than later. And it seems like Texas has done a good job to put themselves in position to get that final OV.
Yeah, I look for it to be, he said whatever he chooses for that last visit, Texas or Oklahoma, he probably won't even pick which school he's going to visit until after his senior season ends. So he probably won't take that visit until December. I mean, we'll see what happens with this team in terms of playoffs and things of that nature, but it's going to be a late visit. So whoever gets that visit is going to get the last visit. They're going to get a late visit. I don't expect him to make a decision. I mean, it may go down to like the early signing window in December. I don't think he'll take it until February, but he did tell me, Cole, whatever one he chooses, Texas or Oklahoma, he'll probably take an unofficial visit to the other one. So both those schools are still very much in play. You mentioned TCU, obviously Georgia. I think he visited USC. I mean, I think he has a top 6 actually technically, but I think this one, I don't know, man. I think Texas, I think TCU's a sneaky player there. You can't discount Georgia, right? Anytime the guy's going to visit Georgia. So we'll see what happens there. And then we mentioned Oklahoma. Cole, another guy that I talked to this week, and I'll have this in the War Room on Orange Bloods. I think I said earlier we were recording this on Thursday. Today's Wednesday, right?
Yeah, today's Wednesday.
Did I say earlier that we were recording on Thursday? Who knows, man?
Yeah, they're all running together, man.
Exactly, dude. I don't even barely know what month it is anymore. But, anyways, on Thursday night on Orange Bloods, I'll have an update on Texas wide receiver commit Hunter Modden, who just committed a couple weeks ago. I encourage everybody to check that out. I had a really good conversation with Hunter. He did visit for the game. It was his first time to see a college football game, period. So I'm like, man, what a great one to start with, right? Texas and Alabama and that kind of atmosphere. His mother accompanied him on the visit. She'd never been to a college game. She doesn't get to go to his high school games. There's some stuff there. Again, I'll have it in the war room. A pretty interesting story, and I just gained a lot of respect for Hunter Modden and just a really good kid. But talked to him about his decision and his visit. Loved it. Loved the visit. He did tell me, Cole, we hear this a lot. He's a 2024 guy. He did tell me, hey, I still probably am going to take some other visits. So, we'll see what happens there. Maybe Texas can tighten that up. But bottom line is he really enjoyed his first college game. He's been to Austin before, but first college game, really enjoyed it. Was blown away by the atmosphere. Loves Brendan Marion, loves that staff. So good visit there. Cole, I want to talk about a couple guys really quickly, and then we'll jump into – we kind of previewed your upcoming weekend. We'll talk about that in a second. A lot of chatter this week about Colton Vasek, the Oklahoma commitment from Austin Westlake, Anthony Hill, the A&M commitment from Denton Ryan. Now, it was funny, Cole, when you and I recorded on Monday, right after we hit the end record button, you said to me, oh, man, I just got a message. I didn't want to interrupt, but I just got a message confirming that Colton Vasek was at the Texas game on Saturday against Alabama. So, we were, truth be told, we were even like, can we cut up something and maybe splice it in there somehow to make this more timely. But a couple of days later, we've had a chance to process it, digest it. I'm going to let you talk about that, Cole. You confirmed it. Colton Vasek was at the game, as I mentioned. Pretty big development just having him at the game. I mean, it kind of makes sense. He lives in Austin. His dad played at Texas. Everything about it makes sense. But still, hey, man, you're getting him on campus in the stands to watch that kind of environment. I think that's kind of a big piece of news. So your thoughts on Colton Vasek being at that game?
Yeah, just getting Colton Vasek back on campus. He was on campus at the end of July with Arch Manning. He was around other coaches and, prospects and just, players. And shortly after that, you committed to Oklahoma. You didn't know where things were going to go from there. And so just getting him back for a game, especially for Alabama, that environment, getting him see how that defense played. He was liking some very pro-Texas stuff on Twitter, if you pay attention to any of that kind of stuff, if you want to read between any lines there. But, I mean, there's also a very good chance he was just, wanting to hang out with his friends. He was with his Westlake teammates, watching a big college football game a couple minutes from his house. Even still, just getting him on campus, getting him around the coaches, around the players, seeing it in that atmosphere, kind of showing him, hey, this is where we're at defensively. We just went toe-to-toe with the Heisman Trophy winner and everything like that. I mean, it has to mean something, I would have to imagine. I believe there's, he says he's saying all the right things. He's committed to Oklahoma and nothing's changed there. But I do think Texas can continue to chip away in that recruitment. Obviously, getting him in for a game is a big step in that. But yeah, pretty big development there, though. Like you said, we got a text message as soon as we recorded, kind of confirming those things. So, yeah, pretty big development for Texas there.
I thought it was interesting after it came out that he was at the game. He then started kind of retweeting some pro Oklahoma things. I'm like, hey, someone said, why wouldn't he go? He lives there and all. And then he's like, yeah, retweeting. So it's like, okay, now that it's out there, now you're kind of, you definitely tried to sneak in under the radar. I will say a couple things about that one. We had heard at Orange Bloods literally like a week after he committed, maybe there was the door was still open there a little bit. So we've kind of been talking about that for a little bit on Orange Blood. So I wasn't shocked to see him at the game. Again, man, he's from Austin. His dad played at UT. Why the hell wouldn't you go to that game if you got tickets, right? And the other side, I did talk to someone close to Colton, or I'll say I emailed with someone close to Colton, and they just said, hey, nothing to it. It was a one-time deal. He just wanted to see a great game 20 minutes from his house. So I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. I'm not telling Texas fans to go overreact to the fact that he was at the game, but I also don't think it's nothing either. I think there's, again, as always, I always say the truth is somewhere in the middle. So I still think he's pretty solid to Oklahoma. But I do think, Texas, that's one data point for Texas. They just need to keep chipping away if they're going to have a shot of possibly flipping him at some point. The other one is Anthony Hill. Cole, I mentioned there's been a lot of talk about him on Orange Bloods on our message board, and A&M lost last week. Of course, Texas plays really well and wins. Is he a guy that could potentially flip from A&M to Texas? I would say slow down on that a little bit right now. I talked to someone close to Anthony earlier today, actually, and I'll have more on this in the war room. Anthony was invited to the game, thought about it, but he and his family were like, man, they've just been doing a lot. They just wanted to have a low-key weekend last weekend. But there is a chance, what I'm told, that they could possibly show up at a Texas game at some point. It's undecided. They don't have any plans right now, any games picked out. They're just kind of, keeping that option on the table. I think if A&M continues to cater a little bit, they lost to Appalachian State. If they take a step backwards, if Texas keeps playing well and playing really well on defense, I think Texas has a shot there. The good news for Texas, he actually, and I was told that Anthony and his family actually talked to the Texas coaches Saturday after the Alabama game. So in the heat of the moment of that game, they were in contact with Anthony Hill. So, the lines of communication are certainly still open. He's being receptive. And right now, I think if you're Texas, you're pretty happy with that. And then you just kind of see where the chips fall in the next few weeks. Cole, we've talked to a lot of committed guys, Texas commits, who are still working on Anthony Hill. Guys like Billy Walton.
Was tweeting today on Wednesday, just saying something along the lines of, it's not too late to change your mind, join the boat. Arch Manning has definitely shouted him out, kind of recruited him over social media as well. So those are two guys you want in your ear if you're Texas and trying to recruit Anthony Hill, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cole, I want to wrap this one up, and I'm going to send it over to you and let you handle things. You've got a big weekend coming up all of a sudden, and actually this weekend, then you've got another one coming up pretty soon, I think. But let's talk about this weekend. It just kind of popped up yesterday, I guess. Suddenly, you're going to be jet setting starting tomorrow. So why don't you tell everybody where you're going, what you'll be doing, and who you're looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I'll be flying down to New Orleans on Thursday. I'll be there through Saturday. You could probably imagine who I'm going to go see in New Orleans. I'll be seeing Arch Manning play on Friday night before
the game. Arch who?
He's quarterback somewhere in
Louisiana. Okay. I'll Google him here in a minute. Yeah.
I think Texas has some interest there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be seeing him Friday night. Before then, I'm planning to stop by Westgate High School, kind of in the Lafayette area, to see Derek Williams, obviously one of the highest commits in the Texas class. Big time safety. He's still saying the right things. I know you talked to him fairly recently, and still locked in with Texas. Think about visiting, other schools. So it'll be good to get an update on him, kind of see him in person, everything like that. Plan to see him Thursday, and then, Arch and Will Randall on Friday night. So 3 big Texas commits. I'm pretty excited to go see there. Not only to see the players, but, try some New Orleans food as well, some Cajun, some seafood, see what I can get into. But, yeah, I'll be flying in tomorrow morning, driving down to Lafayette tomorrow afternoon, and be back in New Orleans on Friday night. So looking forward to that. We'll have all that coverage on Orange Bloods. I'm sure I'll have some stuff in the war room, depending on when I can get out to Westgate and all of that kind of stuff. So make sure to, be on Orange Bloods. I'm sure we'll have an update after the weekend. But yeah, pretty big weekend for us for sure.
Yeah, I'll be really curious to hear what Derek Williams tells you, because he did tell me he told me he already has a visit to Alabama scheduled for October. I had an Alabama source tell me, hey, they don't know that visit will happen just because Saban doesn't normally like to bring guys in during the season as much. Plus, they already have safety commitments, so they're pretty well full. So we'll see if that one happens. And then he mentioned A&M. I can't remember who it was at Miami. I can't remember the other ones he wanted to visit, but I'll be curious to see
as well right there. So
yeah,
Texas was in the mix for a long time for Jacoby Matthews out of Louisiana last year's cycle. So obviously, if they can close strong with Derek Williams, there'll be another big win out of that state when you combine that with Arch Manning, Jamon Tapp, all those kind of guys.
Yeah. Now that it's out there that he wants to take those visits, I'm sure the Texas coaches are trying to tighten that one up a little bit. So I'll be curious when you talk to him tomorrow. Actually, I'll be curious to see if he is still planning on taking those visits, if that's still the line he's thinking there. So safe travels to you, Cole, and enjoy that. I know you'll do a good job down there and enjoy your time down in Louisiana. So let's wrap this one up, Cole. Second edition this week of the CruitCast. I kind of like this, breaking it up. Maybe we'll do it again next week, talk about your travels early in the week and doing another CruitCast later in the week. So everybody do us a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Prime Shrimp, use that promo code OrangeBloods to get $20, off your first order. I'm Jason Sukamel. That's Cole Patterson. This is the CruitCast. Thanks to Blake Skaggs, our producer behind the scenes, for especially this one. We had to chop it up a little bit because we had some audio issues. So Blake's our superhero behind the scenes. So appreciate everybody watching. Y'all have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. And Cole and I will be back early next week, hopefully, to talk to you again soon. And then we'll have some Arch Manning and other stuff to talk about. So everybody have a great rest of your week. Take care.